How's it going, everyone? Good evening. I was just out here regrafting a couple rootstocks from scions that didn't take, and I thought I'd make a video. Now some of you would be like, regrafting? You can regraft rootstocks that didn't take the first time a couple weeks later, or I don't know, 2 months later if you did it early. These are some of the quince rootstocks that Chris Homanics gave me from quince from grafts that didn't take, and I potted them up. Probably been like a month and a half since I potted them up, and I see a lot of healthy growth, and so I was like, why not graft a few of them? They're still pretty small, but I grafted a few of them again, and I have some hybrid quince apple fruits that I wanted to try out, so I grafted one on there, and then this is a Ukrainian quince variety that I had sent to me, so I'm going to try those out. I want to try to use the hybrid apple quince as an interstem between apple and quince, since quince will take on apple, but it doesn't like to be on an apple, and it'll eventually get choked out. So I'm going to use this hybrid as an interstem, and I've actually grafted in a bud of quince into this stem, and if that doesn't take, then I'll have the other bud come out, and then I'll graft to it next year. And these are some of the 2-story grafts that I've done with apple. This is a bud 9 interstem with Wynooch on top, and the interstem is for dwarfing. So a lot of these 2-story grafts didn't take, so I realized why my bud 9 interstems grafts were all failing. We had a flood this winter, and these bud 9s got flooded out. And so if you live in a place that gets flooded, notice this, see that? It's basically rotting. Rootstock is a goner, and therefore the scions from it were bad, and I used them as interstems. Normally never have fails on apple grafts, and all these grafts failed. Notice the Pacific crab apple rootstock is alive and healthy, coming right back, suckering all over the place. I have already regrafted a lot of these, so only one of the bud 9 stems was good. I guess I got lucky on that one, but yeah, so if you live in a area that floods or has wet soil, don't plant bud 9. Just regrafted a pair, one of them that didn't take. Oh, the other thing that I was gonna talk about a little bit is training your young grafts. So you have 2 buds normally, sometimes 3, and 2 of them begin to grow. They take really well, but what you really want, you don't want 2 trunks coming out at the bottom of the tree. And so some people will say, well, just remove one and leave the stronger one. I say just pinch the top from the less vigorous one. That way you still have some leaves here. They can collect energy and work for the leader, and now the leader will shoot up faster, and it can collect more energy because now you have essentially more solar panels for collecting light energy. So I think that's the best way to go about it, is just pinching the less vigorous one. When they're this small, I normally don't do anything quite yet, but say this one right here, I have one growing off to the side and one growing straight up. The one that's growing off to the side, I'll just take this tip off, and now I'll have one straight shoot coming up, by the end of the summer, it'll probably be a couple feet tall, and I'll have one really nice shoot. Here's another pair that got two coming up, and basically I'm gonna pinch the less vigorous one. Even if this gets damaged, say this gets broken off, then you have backup, because now there's buds behind every leaf here, and so one of those buds will eventually take off if you lose your main leader. So I just gotta go around as I walk through here and I pinch. A lot of these were just planted out, so they're not really growing much yet. Some of these were grafted out sooner, and some of these I've already pinched. That one's pinched and I left the straighter one. If you have two that are equally as vigorous but one's going off to the side, pinch the side one, leave the vertical one. Oh, here's another one with two, and I'm just gonna pinch that top. This one's already pinched. The side shoot was actually more vigorous than the vertical one, but I want a straight whip. I don't want one coming off to the side. So here's one that's more rigorous on the bottom bud than the top, and it's still kind of small to pinch, but I mean, you could essentially pinch at this stage also and have all the energy go into one bud. Here's more, but this is just a distraction. That's coming from my golden russet apple. And this is actually good enough to pinch right there. Gold Rush. So it looks like I got a pretty good set of golden russet apples. Notice this is 1 year wood and it's just loaded with apples. So don't cut off all your 1 year wood on your golden russet apples. They like to set fruit on the 1 year wood. Notice this is not 2 year wood. This was a single season growth last season, and I've got apples all along this stem. It was blooming. So yeah, be careful how you prune your golden russets. Got a couple more here. By the way, I'm gonna have black strawberry on Geneva 214 rootstock available in the fall, so you can contact me for some black strawberry trees. I also got cherry cocks, red flesh variety by Marissa. The strawberries as ground cover seems to be working pretty good because I got less weeds coming through, and the strawberries will be coming in shortly. Get a dual purpose out of this grow box. Pretty cool. The flooding did end up taking some of my trees. Kind of sad, but it is what it is. A lot of people got flooded out this year. Here's an example of a graft that I trained the same way I was showing you earlier. I had the graft down here, and there were multiple buds that took. I could probably take this tape off now, but yeah, there were multiple buds all over, and I let one grow, and it grew like 6 feet tall. It even bloomed on the single season growth. I don't think it set any fruit, or maybe it did. Maybe that's fruit right there. Red flesh variety called Baya Marissa. So when you have a whip like this, it's a lot easier to train the tree. I didn't get around to actually training yet for a stage 2. What I should have done is notched a couple buds here. I could still do that technically. So it's trying to form a bunch of blind wood here, but I think what I'll do is I'll notch in a couple places here, and form branches out at different heights along this whip here. Kind of like how Stephen Edholm likes to train his trees. So if you want to see how to train apple trees in that type of way, see Stephen Edholm's videos, Skill Cult. Check out his YouTube channel. He's had quite a bit of experience training trees like this, and he likes to work with whips like this, and that's why I like to encourage people to train your trees as a whip the first season, and then the next season it's a lot easier to train your trees properly if you're into training your trees. If not, then disregard this entire video and you can let the tree grow on its own. It'll do fine, it just won't do what you want it to do. Happy growing, guys.